I've been playing COD Zombies for over 14 years now, over 2/3 of my life, and in that time, I have played every single Zombies map enough to form firm opinions on them. There are some maps that I love, some maps that I like, and some maps that I don't like them at all. But even in the maps that I don't like, for as bad as I personally think they are, there is at least something good on them. Whether it be a fun wonder weapon, a cool side Easter egg, or just something obscure that I love. Today, I will go through every single Zombies map in history, and I'm gonna tell you my favorite thing on every single map. Now before we jump into this, let me say a few things. Number one, this is my own personal opinion, and just because I like something that you don't, or vice versa, that's okay. In this video, I'm just stating my own personal favorite thing about every Zombies map. And also, for some maps, it's gonna be hard for me to pick just one thing as my favorite in that map, so for those maps, I'll say a couple of my favorite things. And finally, as easy as it would be to just say, oh, the wonder weapon's great on this map, for every map and move on, I'm gonna try my hardest to pick original things for every entry one possible to keep this video interesting. One last thing before we hop in, if you guys enjoyed this video and you'd like to see me flip this idea on its head and discuss my least favorite thing in every Zombies map in history, then let me know down below in the comments. And with that being said, let's start at the beginning with Nacht der Untoten. The vibes. I was too young to play Water Wars campaign when Zombies first started. I mean, I was only 7, give me a break. But I can only imagine the feeling you felt if you didn't know Zombies was in Water War and you finished the campaign only to see the Nacht intro cutscene. This cutscene still to this day sends chills down my spine every time I see it. And then when you spawn in, you're in the barricaded bunker with an eerily large moon in the skybox. It sets the perfect atmosphere for a post-apocalyptic horror game that still gets me to this day. My favorite thing about Verrückt are the super sprinters. Now this might be a hot take, but with how fast the Verrückt sprinters are, combined with Verrückt's map layout, it makes for a really chaotic game of zombies that might be a turnoff for some, but for me, it's easily Water War Verrückt's best feature. Now I'm not a fan of Shinonuma, but it 100% does deserve credit for introducing two of the most important things we've ever had in zombies. The first one is the Wunderwaffe, and the reason this is so important is because the Wunderwaffe on Shinonuma was the first new wonder weapon in COD Zombies outside of the ray gun, which technically wasn't even made for zombies. And the other important thing this map introduced were the dogs. This was the first map ever where once you completed a special round, you'd be rewarded a max ammo for it. This feature is so important, and it's been on almost every Zombies map since because it was such a good idea. And it all started on Shinonuma. For Darius, I mean, this one's so easy. It has to be the electric trap. I mean, with how important this trap is in no, I'm kidding. I just said that to get a reaction because obviously everybody watching this video knows what I'm about to say. The single best thing about Darius, let's say it together on 3, 2, 1, the Pack-a-Punch. This single-handedly changed how we played zombies and dramatically extended the replayability of COD Zombies. And here's a fun fact for you. Some of the devs that worked on Water War Zombies were opposed to adding the Pack-a-Punch machine because they thought it would be too overpowered and make the game too easy. And I am so glad that they changed their mind because this is one of the most important things we have ever seen in Zombies history. If you know me, then you know I'm not a fan of Kino anymore, even though it was my first map I ever played. But if there's one thing that I'll always be able to enjoy on it, it's 115. Probably still to this day, the single most iconic song in Zombies history that most people can identify just by hearing this riff. There's a few things I love about 5, like the Pentagon Thief, and just the overall eeriness of the map. But if I had to pick just one thing to be my favorite, then I'd have to go with the characters. This is by far the craziest crew we've ever had in Zombies, and it'll most likely remain this way for the rest of the time. Like we're fighting zombies in the Pentagon as President John F. Kennedy, future President Richard Nixon, Robert McNamara, and Fidel Castro. Like, how cool is this? This is still something that blows my mind to this day, that we were able to play as these characters in a Zombies map. Like, how crazy is this? But who knows, maybe if we're lucky in another 20 years, we'll get another Zombies map and we'll be able to play as the presidents. Ascension is not for me, but with that said, there still are some really great things on Ascension. For starters, Abracadabra. This is my single favorite Easter egg song ever, so this map gets credit for that. But my favorite thing about Ascension is that it added two of the most important perks in Zombies history. If you don't know, when Ascension released, it added Stamina Up, which made training the preferred way of killing zombies, and it also introduced PhD Flopper, the perk that gets rid of any splash damage from your weapons, like the Mustang and Sally and the ray gun, to this perk helping in later games with weapons like the Hellion and the GS-45. Those weapons would not be as good as they are if it was not for for PhD Flopper, and this perk was added with Ascension, so this map gets credit for it. Call of the Dead. Now, as much as I just want to say the Scavenger and move on, I can't in good conscience just say that because the Scavenger sucks once you hit the mid to high rounds, so instead, I'm gonna give y'all a hot take. I like George. I think he's a very unique enemy that adds a constant sense of panic without him being overbearing. He's always in the map, but he's not always in your face 100% of the time you play, like how some people say he is. Plus, when you take him out, you'll be rewarded with a free perk and a free death machine. Or if you've already completed the Easter egg on this map, you will get a free Wonder WAF, which is otherwise unobtainable on this map. It's a great reward for taking out a really original enemy that I really hope we see something like him again in the future. There's a lot of stuff to enjoy on Shangri-La, like the baby gun, the water slide, the minecart ride, the enemies, the atmosphere, but my favorite thing about this map is something that's actually exclusive to Shangri-La, and that is manipulating the drops. If you don't know, when you get a power-up to spawn on this map, the monkeys will come steal it and try to go back to Pack-a-Punch with it. But while they're running back, they will cycle through every single drop in the map, so if you time it just right, then you can turn what was a carpenter or double points into a max ammo. And additionally, if the monkeys pick up a max ammo, then one more power-up will be added to the drop rotation, and that is a free perk. Moving on to Moon, my favorite thing is the Easter egg. For transit, I'm gonna have to go with the... What, do you guys really need an explanation for Moon? Fine. This Easter egg is great, and most of it still holds up to this day. Not only that, but this is also one of the most influential Easter eggs ever, with a majority of the steps in this Easter egg being recycled in future quests, like Samantha Says and the MPD Soul Box. And then you got the ending, which is probably the single coolest ending to a Zombies map we have ever seen. It's definitely the coolest one without an end cutscene, that's for sure. This is, in my opinion, the best Easter egg of the Jimmy Zielinski era, and like I said, the majority of the steps still hold up to this day. Transit, the atmosphere. For as annoying as this map is to play and traverse, taking the gameplay out of your mind, this map is so freaking scary. From the insane amount of fog to the constant shrieks from the denizens to the lightning in the sky, this map's atmosphere is off the charts. And I hope when we eventually do get a Transit remaster, I really hope that they can recapture this goated atmosphere whilst also making a lot of the map's problems gameplay-wise a lot better. Nuketown Zombies. What's to like about Nuketown? Oh, I know. Moon's Easter egg. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the COD Zombies storyline, Nuketown Zombies actually takes place at the same exact time as Moon. And if you paid attention during Moon's Easter egg, then you'll pick up on some very obvious Moon references, including the exact dialogue from Maxis and Richtofen when you mash an X on the computer.
Login. Password? I'm not, but that's why no one would guess it. Login, Teddy. Password is a liar. I'm not, but that's why no one would guess it.
So once you hit round 25 on Nuketown, the zombies' eyes will change from yellow to blue, and this is because after Richtofen and Samantha swap souls in Moon, he changes the zombies' eyes to blue because he now has control. And the coolest part of this entire map, after you die, you see this. That is one of the rockets from the Moon coming down where you were just playing zombies to blow it to smithereens. And here's a bonus fun fact for you. On Black Ops 3 Moon, after you complete the Easter egg, if you go to Area 51, then outside the map you can see a mushroom cloud here. This mushroom cloud is none other than the one at Nuketown, Die Rise. I could go for a few things for my favorite thing about Die Rise, like the jumping jacks giving me a free perk if I get 100% accuracy in that round, or if you just use the Galvanockles. But my favorite thing about Die Rise is probably something that a lot of people don't like about it, and that is all the shortcuts you can use with the trample steam. There are so many spots you can place your trample steam to launch yourself across the map, whether you're about to die or you just need to get to that part of the map. In my opinion, this is definitely the coolest thing about Die Rise. There are a ton of things to love about Mob of the Dead, like the Blundergat, the prisoners, the warden, the Pack-a-Punch. I could go on, but my favorite thing about Mob of the Dead is the soundtrack. Every single track on this map is great, and it does an absolutely stellar job to set the scene for fighting zombies on Alcatraz. And while we're talking about the music, honorable mention to Rusty Cage. It's a great song and it fits this map perfectly, but unfortunately, I can't play you a clip, so let's move on to Buried. For Buried, this is real easy. It's gotta be Leroy. Now, I don't absolutely love Leroy like other people do, because he can be really annoying at times. But with that being said, all the cool things he can do is just insane. Like, just to name a few, he can lock the mystery box so it never moves in your game. He can change the drop to a random drop, including a max ammo. He can build any buildable for you. He can babysit a crawler. He can also beat up the zombies. Like, there are just so many cool things that he can do. And even though he's not perfect, and like I said, there are a few annoying things about him, I can't lie, Leroy is one of the best allies in zombies history. Origins. Say it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thus fog.
We've introduced the fog rolling in.
No, I'm just messing with you. It's obviously the staffs. I mean, anyone who's played this map, their favorite thing about this map is the staffs. And for good reason too. They're one of the best sets of wonder weapons out of any zombies map, period. And all 4 are great to use and suit different playstyles. And the effects on the staffs look amazing. The staffs just overall one of the best things in zombies history, not just wonder weapons. Out of anything in COD Zombies ever added, the staffs are one of the best. Moving on to Exo Zombies now. For Outbreak. This is the first Easter egg to have 2 different endings. I know the BO2 maps technically had 2 different endings because Mob of the Dead has Cycle, Broken, or Continued, and the Victus maps have 2 different Easter eggs, but they more or less end the same way, with just a slight difference in the end result. With Outbreak, however, there are actually 2 completely different endings to this Easter egg. On the final step of this Easter egg, you have to collect 45 keycards from the zombies. And most people just shoot the zombies with their weapons and collect the keycards they drop. If you do it this way, then the warbird that spawns in at the end of the Easter egg to come and save you will actually get shot down out of the sky, and that's the end of the Easter egg. From here, you just keep playing as long as you want until you die. But there is a second, totally different ending to this map, because instead of shooting the zombies to get your keycards, if you melee every single one of them, then after you spam interact on the exosuit and go to spawn, the warbird will come down and you can get on the warbird to successfully exfil and win your game. You don't get to keep playing, this is actually the end of the game. Like I said, it has 2 completely different endings and I absolutely love this map for it. Now, a lot of people hate this map, myself included. It's not a good map, but this was not hard at all. By far, my favorite thing on Infection is at the end of this Easter egg, Bubby from Burger Town will come to life and start beating up the zombies. Like, this is so freaking cool. This is easily one of the best rewards we have ever gotten for an Easter egg, and I'm kind of upset that we never seen it again, especially on Forsaken. I mean, Bobby was already in the map. You could have done this again. Carrier is another map that I do not like at all, but my favorite thing about this map was very easy to think about. This map still looks really good, even though this map came out in early 2015. This map is over 10 years old, and it really doesn't look like it. And I have 2 honorable mentions as well. One being the Plinko board. If you throw a grenade in here, then it'll play a game of Plinko, and that grenade drop will get you anywhere from 100 to 1,000 additional points for free. And what's even better is that there's no limit to how many times you can do this either. And number 2, Chompy. It's a great trap that'll drive around this area and take out all the zombies in its way. And you can ride it too. This is just one of the coolest traps ever. For Descent, I could very easily pick the setting for this map too and just move on to BO3. But with as great as this setting is, I don't want to pick the same thing for back-to-back entries, so I'm gonna say my favorite thing for Descent is the Easter egg. This Easter egg is fantastic, with the entire Easter egg just alternating between special round challenges and puzzles to do. It makes for a really fun Easter egg. Like, just to name a few of my favorite steps. You got the drone challenge, where you gotta hunt down 5 drones on our map and shoot them and break them, to the Goliath step, where you go outside of the map in a Goliath suit to an otherwise inaccessible part of the map and activate a button with all the fish flying around you, to the unlimited grenade challenge, to the exosuit parkour step, which is a lot of fun to do. As someone who's played a ton of Advanced Warfare's multiplayer, it's a blast to do, and it makes me feel like I'm 14 again, sweating with my exosuit. And then you got the rocket challenge, which it gives you a max pack-a-punch rocket launcher and you have unlimited ammo, to the part where you go back in time to Outbreak spawn room and listen to memories inside of Oz's mind. And also, this map gets a bonus for having the first boss fight ever in Zombies. Even though it's technically not a part of the Easter egg, even if you don't even touch this Easter egg, you'll still have to do it when you play this map normally because it's a round gated thing, not an Easter egg thing. But with that being said, it still does have the first boss fight ever that honestly still holds up kind of well to this day. I'll tell you one thing, it has a better boss fight than my favorite map of all time, Shadows of Evil. Like I said, this is my favorite map of all time. And if you want to know why, watch this 3.5-hour video where I rank every single Zombies map from worst to best. I love this map map for a wide plethora of reasons, and it's really hard to just pick one as my favorite. So I'm gonna say my favorite thing, and then I'm gonna list 2 honorable mentions. I'm sorry, this is hard. It's my favorite map. Cut me some slack. My favorite thing on Shadows of Evil is the vibes. Immediately when you spawn in, you take in the scenery and you get hit in the face with the amazing soundtrack playing.
You bear the mark. You are cursed. You must place your hand upon the stone.
I don't think this is a dream.
And the music only gets better as the map goes on, with stuff like the round change music, the pack-a-punch songs, and on top of this you have 2 amazing Easter egg songs on this map in Snakeskin Boots and Cold Hard Cash, both of which are fantastic songs that help set the scene of the 1940s so much more. And an honorable mention to the Apothecon Servant, my favorite wonder weapon of all time. And the other honorable mention goes to one of my favorite side Easter eggs of all time, the Lil Arnie Easter egg. This is a simple yet fantastic Easter egg that I do every single time that I play Shadows of Evil. Although I do love the look of the giant, with the snow falling and everything, this is not my favorite thing about the giant, because that would be the free perk Easter egg. It was so nice to have a remastered map with a completely original Easter egg in it to introduce extra perks that otherwise wouldn't be on this map. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can throw a monkey inside all 3 teleporters and teleport with them before they explode to turn these lights and spawn green. Once all 3 are green, you can interact with it, and the robot outside the map will melt this snowbank, revealing a 6th perk. This perk can either be Deadshot Daiquiri, or the much better option, Stamina Up. I wasn't expecting an Easter egg on the giant in 2015, so to end up learning that there was one, and on top of that, it could maybe reward you with the best perk in the game, this has always been something that's stuck with me. Now, as much as I want to say the bows and move on, I'm going to pick something different. I'm going to go with the end cutscene and the moments leading directly up to it. After you beat the boss fight and you teleport back, you'll hear Groff frantically telling off Richtofen because he knows what's about to happen in one summoning key placement later, and you do too, as about 20 rockets will launch aimed straight for Griffin Station on the moon. As someone who didn't beat Moon's Easter egg until well after I did their Eisendrache, this was a jaw-dropping ending that has always stuck with me. And then after the moon blows up, you have the main cutscene. The crew goes to Ultimus Dempsey and Richtofen traps Primus with the summoning key in order to get Ultimus Dempsey's soul. This is when Dempsey says,
I should never have trusted you, Richtofen. Never!
You should trust me, Dempsey. You all should. This artifact has the power to contain and preserve the subject's soul. Your soul. But it can only be done after the moment of death, just as you saw me do to my other self. It is the only way.
Wait! If someone's gotta take him out to save the universe, then it should be me that does it.
and in the last minute of the cutscene, the only line said is,
Good to see you, Tank.
The rest of this cutscene is carried by Dempsey and Richtofen's facial expressions and the music. This is still, to this day, one of the best endings to an Easter egg, not only in terms of the cutscene, but also in terms of the events leading directly up to the cutscene. It's an emotional roller coaster that perfectly sets up the rest of BO3's DLC season in an unforgettable 3-minute cutscene. My favorite thing on Zetsubo Noshima is actually a group of things, and that is the side Easter eggs. From the spider boss fight to get free Widow's Wine, to the half-price perks, to the friendly Thrasher, to the doppelganger jump scare, to the golden bucket that gets you infinite water, to the spider bait. There are just so many amazing Easter eggs on Zetsubo Noshima that all give you great rewards, and they're not too hard to do either. There is a lot to love about Karat Kirby, but if I had to pick just one thing, then I'd have to go with the boss fight. You free Nikolai from the rubble, and then you have to team up with him to take out the dragon in the first part of the boss fight. And then after the first boss fight, you will get a mid-game cutscene which we never saw before in Zombies up to this point. And on the other side of it, you will then have to take out Nikolai's mech in the second part of this boss fight. This is one of my favorite boss fights in Zombies history, and it never gets boring to do. Whether or not you like Revelations, there is one thing that pretty much anyone who's ever played this map, myself included, will like and that is the visuals. To the giant blue sun, to the rest of the skybox, and all the old maps having touch-ups to them and them floating in space, this is still the single prettiest Zombies map of all time. It's so beautiful, in fact, that I'm staring at it right now as I say this because it's set as my wallpaper on my computer. It is such a beautiful map, and when I play this map, it's hard to not just sit back and look at the sky and take in this map's amazing visuals. Zombies in Spaceland.
Bumper cars!
Sorry, I have to bring up that clip every chance I get. Can't let the old meme die. There is a lot to love about Spaceland, from the boss fight, to the wonder weapons, especially the 4th of July, which is my personal favorite, to the licensed music in the map. This map is in my top 10. It's an amazing map all around, but if I had to pick just one thing to be my favorite, then it'd be the things in this map that don't even involve killing zombies. The arcade and the roller coaster. The arcade machines are a ton of fun to play, whether you're playing basketball, or skee ball, or you're doing a water gun race. All the arcade machines in here are pretty fun, and that's not even including the retro Activision games that you can play too. And it's not pointless to play these machines either, because when you play them, you will earn tickets based off your performance, and you can go to the prize booth in the arcade and exchange these tickets for upgrades in the map, like special cryo-freeze grenades, a max ammo, a wonder weapon that can rack up a ton of points really easily. This is such a novel concept, and when I think of Zombies in Spaceland, the arcade always sticks out to me. And now let's talk about the roller coaster. I know it's technically not a part of the arcade, but I still do like to loop it in with the arcade because not only do you get tickets based off of how many targets you get, but you also get an amazing ride with a great overlook of the entire map. Hey people that know me, let's say my favorite thing about Rave in 3, 2, 1, the Rave. When you activate Rave mode, this map is just so freaking beautiful, man. In Rave mode, it is legitimately one of my favorite looking maps ever, and I will never get tired of looking at it. And I don't want to complain too much in this video, but I will never forgive Lee Ross for not putting a side Easter egg on Rave in the Redwoods to play in Infinite Rave mode, because if there was a way to do that, then I would do that side Easter egg literally every single time I'd play Rave. Now, despite Shaolin's ranking in my every map rank video, this map does have a lot of good in it, like the cheese and some parts of the Easter egg. Others are ugh. But my favorite thing about Shaolin is the katana. Once you beat Shaolin's Easter egg, in subsequent runs of the map, there'll be a katana wall buy in Pam's room that you can buy for 10,000 points, and this thing is an absolute beast. And right now I'm talking about it when it's unpack-a-punched, because when it becomes pack-a-punched, on every other swing of the katana, you can get a charge attack on it that's kinda like the Gaia attack on Ancient Evil. You can get a charge attack on it that will take out the entire horde, and when double pack-a-punched, it becomes the Feral Instinct, and at this point, with every other swing of it, it'll unleash a pink tiger head that'll clear the entire horde, and also does infinite damage too. But besides the charge attack, the katana is a one hit until I believe round 43, which, besides the cheese, makes this the strongest melee weapon pre-BO4. No, I do not like Elvira doing this every 5 seconds. My favorite thing about attack is just the casual gameplay. Although I don't mind this Easter egg, when I want to hop on attack and just have fun, more often than not, it'll be me just casually killing zombies. Despite this map's absolutely insane Easter egg, this map's pack-a-punch and power setups are actually really easy to do. And upgrading the Mad Wonder Weapon is really easy also, with all you're needing for it is the crowbar you can get on round 1. And after I do that, I'll get a weapon from the Magic World that I really like the Mauler, the VPR, the FHR, the Sandy Balls, or the MV4, and I'll just have an absolute blast. Whether I camp near the garage, train on the beach, or do another strat that I just make up on the fly, this map's casual gameplay has always been one of my favorites, and it'll probably stay that way forever. Most of you IW fans are probably struggling to think about what I'm gonna say is my favorite thing about Beast from Beyond, because, I mean, what is there to like about Beast from Beyond? Most people, myself included, rank it as one of the worst maps ever, but believe it or not, there is something to love, and I mean love, about this map. And no, it's not meth. Perfect boss fight, 10 out of 10, but I'm not including him as part of Beast from Beyond. So with him out of the picture, my favorite thing about Beast from Beyond has got to be this map's atmosphere. Most of Infinite Warfare takes place in the past, which is kind of strange considering, you know, Infinite Warfare takes place way off in the future, but the finale in this game actually jumps way in the future with the rest of the game because Beast from Beyond takes place in the year 2206. This map actually takes place on one of the moons of Jupiter, and once you step outside the facility, you can really take in this map's amazing atmosphere. atmosphere. You can see Jupiter out in the distance, you can see snowstorms outside the map. When I stare at this part of the map for so long, it really makes me feel like I'm isolated from the rest of humanity, which I guess I'm technically not because all humans are dead at this point in extinction. And when you go outside the theater, the atmosphere here is pretty nice too. With the burning theater and the nighttime skybox, it plays a really nice contrast to the bright and snowy parts of the map. World War II Zombies overall is going to be pretty challenging for me to list my favorite thing for every map because besides Vanguard, World War II is my least favorite zombies game, but with that being said, it will be easy for the Final Reich. And as much as I love the Tesla guns and I just want to say specifically the Midnight and move on, my favorite thing in this map is the fact that there are two different Easter eggs. First, you got the normal quest, which is fairly enjoyable, but the game also assists you with the notepad along the way on your HUD. But then it has the hardcore quest, which is the casual quest, but with like an additional 3 or 4 steps that the game doesn't help you with, and they're also a lot harder than the rest of the quests too. Then once you beat the boss fight in the hardcore quest, you will actually get a different ending than you would in the casual one. In the hardcore quest, you will get the canon ending, where Marie's brother will walk around the map, and then he'll sacrifice himself right in front of her. I think it's really cool they did this for the Final Reich, and this is something I really hope Kevin, Drew, and Treyarch do bring back because I think it would be the perfect balance for both sides of the community. They could keep the easier quests in BO6 for the casual people, but they could also add a few extra steps on top of it that are harder than the rest of the quest, and maybe even an alternate ending as well. I think this would be a great compromise for both sides of the community. Grosston House is another map that's surprisingly really easy for me to name my favorite thing about, and that is the challenge. You're locked inside this really small house with a Pack-a-Punch mystery box and a Wonder Fizz, and your main objective is to just survive. And that might sound easy because it sounds similar to BO3 Nacht, but the difference here is, on this map, there are boss enemies that can spawn, and their presence alone turns this into what would be a fairly chill survival map into a really nice challenge that I'll occasionally hop onto and play to this day. And the devs know it's a challenge too because there are multiple characters locked behind reaching certain rounds on this map, like reaching round 30 with no downs, or one that's even more diabolical, reaching round 20 in this map without getting hit. Boy, here we go. The Darkest Shore. My single least favorite full non-Vanguard Zombies map ever. What do I even say? First off, let me go over the positives. The little survival before round 1, that's cool. And the hilt of Barbarossa, that's also pretty cool. Ah, I know. The Pummel of Barbarossa. Didn't realize I misspoke in my Every Map Rank video. The Pummel is a really nice piece of equipment that you unlock right before the boss fight in this map, and it serves as a quick area of denial when you get caught in a pinch. I like to use this thing like Electric Cherry, where if I'm about to die, then I'll quickly throw it on the ground in front of me, and it'll stun, if not kill, the entire horde. I will say, I do prefer Jack-in-the-Boxes for this boss fight, but the Pummel is definitely a really good option for the boss fight, and just for casual gameplay as well, it's all around a great piece of equipment. The Shattered Throne is another easy one because I'm gonna say the wonder weapons that you craft for the Easter egg. The Spike Bat's okay, it's definitely my least favorite of the 3, but with that being said, it still is pretty solid because you can use it to kill multiple zombies with one swing. Then you got the Axe, which can stun the entire horde of zombies, giving you a get out of jail free card, but my favorite of the 3 is the Trench Knife, where every single time you melee a zombie, you can get either extra grenades, extra points, or the best drop, which is an extra piece of armor, which is basically Jug in this game. This comes in especially helpful in the boss fight, where you don't have access to an armor stand, and this is your main way of getting armor back. I'm gonna group every Torture Path map together because my favorite thing about it is something that spans across all these maps, and that's the fact that they actually tried to do something different. Even if I don't like it at all, which I don't, I still gotta respect that during this time span where we were getting routine round-based zombies maps every 3 to 4 months for 4 years straight, they had the balls to shake up the entire gameplay formula for a DLC map to see how the community would react. For the Frozen Dawn, this one's pretty obvious, but it's once again the wonder weapons. All 4 wonder weapons on Frozen Dawn are pretty good, and they all play differently from each other, but my 2 favorite are the Flail, which you can save your location and teleport back to at any point, and the Scythe, one of the coolest and most overpowered weapons ever. And that's not to say that I don't like the Hammer or the Shield, because I do, they're both pretty cool, especially the Shield. But these 2 wonder weapons are definitely my favorite thing about Frozen Dawn. Now on to Black Ops 4, my beloved, starting with 9. My favorite thing about this map is made up from everything about the map, and that is the entire vibe that this map gives off. From the soundtrack, to the crowd cheering on the action, to the Gladiator, Brawler, and the Tigers, to most importantly, the setting of this map, which is in ancient Rome. This map perfectly nails the Gladiator Coliseum that they were going for, and it's by far my single favorite thing about 9. Now, I'm somebody who quite likes Voyage, and even though there's a lot to this map that I like, definitely my favorite thing on this map is something that we weren't ever supposed to find. Because my favorite thing on this map is a dev Easter egg to be teleported into the skeleton car flying around the Titanic. This is probably my single favorite Easter egg in Zombies history. Definitely top 3 if it's not flat out my favorite. And I say that we weren't ever supposed to find this because the only way this was ever found is through data miners. And the only way to do this is, in my opinion at least, obviously left over from a playtester's build. You have to crouch and hold interact and take this exact path that I do. Then at the end of it, you melee twice, uncrouch, and switch weapons. And the first time you do this, then you will get the Kraken and the Homunculus completely for free. So if the route itself wasn't enough to convince you, this ought to be a dead giveaway. But if you do this exact same thing again, then you will actually be teleported into the skeleton car that's driving around the outside of the Titanic. Or flying? Driving? Yeah, both. Like every other Chaos map, I absolutely love Dead of the Night, and there is a bunch of stuff to choose from as my favorite, but I'm gonna stick in the same category as I did with Voyage, because my favorite thing on this map is the side Easter egg to get infinite ammo. And I don't mean like Cold War infinite ammo, where there's a bunch of ammo boxes around the map that you can keep buying ammo from. No, I mean as soon as you reload, your ammo in your reserve will shoot back up to max. If you pair this with Alistair's Annihilator, then you have one of the easiest and most brainless high rounds ever. Hey look, it's another map where I say there's a lot of stuff for me to choose from as my favorite. Just a few honorable mentions. The atmosphere, the OST, all 4 hands, the tributes, I could go on. But when I think of Ancient Evil, one thing more than anything else comes to mind, and that is this map's Easter egg. This Easter egg is almost perfect. From upgrading the hands, to getting the Eternal Flame, to the Charon step, the Sundial step, to my single favorite Easter egg step of all time, hit your marks. This step is insanely fun to do over and over again, and it never gets tiring to do. Then you got the mid-game cutscene where Bruno kills Shaw, spoiler alert, and then this Easter egg finishes off with a fantastic boss fight that was a completely original concept. It's a 2-part fight, but the only way to beat this boss fight is by damaging the enemies with your specialist weapon. And that might seem annoying considering you have to keep recharging it, but thankfully Perseus can throw down fire on the ground that if you run into will recharge your specialist. So you have an easy way to charge your specialist to take down the bosses. And to top this boss fight off, you're fighting on top of Mount Olympus in an absolutely amazing boss fight arena. This is, in my opinion, the single best Easter egg of all time. The only step in this Easter egg that's even remotely annoying to do is the scepter lockdown, only on solo. On co-op it's great, just like the rest of this quest, but on solo, they didn't balance the enemies, so way too many enemies spawn for one player to deal with consistently without the Hellion. Thankfully though, there is an easy way to cheese this, so once you learn that, this entire quest is a blast from beginning to end. I also think that Blood of the Dead's Easter egg is a blast from beginning to end. Blast. But I'm not gonna go with it because that would get me crucified in the comments, so I'm gonna go with another one of my favorite things about Blood of the Dead, and that is the brand new version of the Blundergat on this map, the Magmagat. I love the Magmagat so much, from its upgrade quest, to how great it is for taking out enemies, to how great it is for helping you with the Easter egg. It is a great wonder weapon and is one of my favorite wonder weapons of all time. Classified. This one's easy. The Pentagon Thief. At least that's what I would have said if he was actually on this map, but he's not. So my favorite thing about Classified is something that most people probably aren't thinking about. And no, it's not Groom Lake, although that is a great part of Classified, and it's not the buff to Winter's Howl either. My favorite thing about Classified are the Pack-a-Punch camos. Now this might sound weird if you've only seen these in-game, but if you look at these camos outside of the game, then you can actually see some pretty cool stuff. You can see classified blueprints for the Ray Gun Mark 1, the Ray Gun Mark 2, which wasn't even in BO4 on launch, and it also has a blueprint of the Monkey Bombs as well. And the last 2 Pack-a-Punch camos are black and white versions of classified papers about the Black Ops 1 characters. Also, there's a picture of Shino Numa in the bottom left. These are some of the most creative and interesting Pack-a-Punch camos ever. Alpha Omega is a map that a lot of people hate, and I can't lie, a lot of it is warranted, but there are 4 things that stick out to me, and I'm gonna name all of them because I can't pick. Starting with the loading screen. This loading screen is actually made up of a ton of different images throughout all the older Zombies maps. They mashed all these pictures together to make this amazing piece of art. This is probably the single coolest loading screen ever once you realize this. Next up, the GOAT! Rushmore! We all love Rushmore, from his great voice lines, to his overt 50s pro-America personality, to all the amazing things he can do in-game like half-price perks, open random doors, free bonfire sales, and more. Rushmore is absolutely amazing. So amazing, in fact, that I'm actually playing on Team Rushmore alongside MZC, Invalid, and Xenixy for a charity stream on July 19th to support the WWF. If you want to donate to the charity, links in the description. Moving on though, the Elemental Ray Gun Mark IIs are mostly really fun to use, but especially the infinite ammo one and the explosive ray gun. These two are some of the coolest wonder weapons ever. And the last thing that I love about Alpha Omega is the fact that it is the only zombies map in history where we can play as two different crews at the same time. I mean, besides the CDC and CIA. You can play a game where you have Primus Takio and Ultimus Nikolai in a game together. Or you can have a game where Primus Richtoff and an Ultimus Dempsey are in a game together.
Hey, Treyarch, this guy's bugging me. How do I kick him from the game?
Whoever you think you're talking to, Dempsey, I don't think they're listening.
And even though they technically are the same character, the Primus and Ultimus versions are vastly different from each other. And I know for a fact that this took a ton of work for Craig Houston, the lead writer at Treyarch, to do, but I'm really glad that he put in the extra work because hearing Primus and Ultimus interact on the same map is something that I will never get tired of. Nacht der Untoten, the Easter egg. But not in the way you think. Gameplay-wise, this Easter egg is subpar with a lot, and I mean of dialogue to listen to, but when I say the Easter egg is my favorite in this map, I'm talking about both the story and how the steps make you think. This entire quest revolves around you building the sealed duality to basically end COD Zombies. Once you build the sealed duality, you gotta place it in each pack-a-punch machine and get kills nearby it. What you're doing on this step is you are shutting down all the pack-a-punch machines forever in the zombie story. That machine that we've used to pack-a-punch our guns for 10 straight years, you are shutting it down forever on this step. And after you survive the final hold-off, all the power is off to the map and now you have free roam of the entire map with no zombies. This is because you just wiped all the zombies out of the story. And at the very end of the cutscene, when you're walking Sam and Eddie to the light, you have to walk them to the light. You are letting go of the characters that you've been connected to for the past 10 years. I understand why some people don't like to see Easter egg from a gameplay stance, but when you think about what the steps mean and what you're doing in the steps, I think it shows that this Easter egg has a really nice charm to it. Nope, we're not doing that again. I played D-Machine so much in 2020, and there is a lot to like about it, but I'm gonna say something that most people probably aren't thinking about, and that is this map's enemy, the Megaton. When he spawns in, he'll be one big beefy boy, but once you damage him enough, he will split into two Megaton splits and you have to take them out as well. This is such a great concept for an enemy, and as someone who dislikes most of the bosses in Cold War, I gotta say that the Megaton is by far my favorite in this game, and he's one of my favorite enemies of all time. Here we go. Firebase Z. If this is your first time watching me, first off, welcome. Love to have you around for longer. You should subscribe. And thanks for watching 40 minutes of this video. But secondly, I'm not a fan of Firebase Z. But one thing about this map that I think is really cool is the bunny Easter egg. I like all the bunny Easter eggs across all of Cold War, but this one has always stuck out to me. You'll be teleported to a pitch black area outside the map with a bunch of enemies spawning, and you have to find a teddy bear at 3 different locations to get the loot crate and leave. The rewards you get in this map are pretty much the same as the rest of them, but in between the streaks of the enemies and the lack of lighting in this room, this is a very unexpected but also very welcomed short horror sequence that would have fit really nice in World War II. Outbreak. This one's easy. The first main quest. Specifically though, from the silo step on. Before that point, it's not very fun, but the silo step is probably my single favorite Easter egg step in all of Cold War Zombies, and the Legion fight is also my favorite boss fight in Cold War. This boss fight is a lot of fun, with you needing to learn the balance of shooting the Legion, to dealing with crowd control, to trying to ignore the timer so you don't psych yourself out. This boss fight really stands out compared to the rest of Cold War's boss fights, and sometimes not even a boss fight. It's an awesome anomaly in Cold War's boss fights, and it does a lot of heavy lifting for Outbreak as a whole for me. Nacht der Untoten. Now, I really hate to just pick what everyone's thinking right now, but I mean, how can I not pick the Cerberus? This thing is just so freaking cool. Well, at least the normal one is. The 3 variants you can get for it are somehow a lot worse than the original, so I don't even bother grabbing them, but as far as the original goes, the one you get out to safe, this thing is absolutely amazing. It's a really cool sci-fi pistol type thing, with an orb circling the screen that'll shoot an additional shot of the wonder weapon every single time that you do. It's pretty much like having a companion mechanic from Dead Up's arcade. It is such a unique wonder weapon that really helps bring in the character of Mauer. Like seriously, I don't know what they were cooking in these last 2 maps, but the wonder weapons were just so much better at the end of this game compared to the Shockwave and the Raycat. You can probably see where I'm going with this. I'm gonna go with the Chrysalax for Forsaken. The Chrysalax is easily one of the most unique wonder weapons we've ever had, and oh my god is it satisfying to use. This wonder weapon has 3 different types of attacks. First, it has a swipe that can one-shot zombies forever, and then it can transform into a pistol, kind of like the Needler from Halo. You can fire it like this for some range, or you can throw a portal on the ground to be a temporary area of denial. This wonder weapon is so freaking versatile, I love it. For a while after Forsaken came out, it was my favorite Cold War map, and the Crystal Axe is hands down the sole reason why. Really a shame they didn't bring it to Outbreak though. Now we're moving on to the last Zombies game, and yes, we're skipping Vanguard because I have nothing good to say about Vanguard. Literally, I'm trying right now, and I cannot think. So we're gonna move on to BO6, starting with Terminus. Now, if y'all know me, then you know that I absolutely love this map. In fact, I'm probably this map's biggest fan. I'm definitely the biggest Terminus fan who also makes YouTube content, I can say that for sure. But I love this map for many reasons. But my favorite thing that Terminus has to offer is the Patient 13 boss fight. This boss fight is so freaking sick, man. He has great attacks with very noticeable cues. He has multiple phases that all ramp up in difficulty with each phase. And the best thing of all, the Kraken, the boss, is the actual threat, not the zombies. Now don't get me wrong, the zombies can be a threat to you, especially in that last phase. But more often than not, when you go down in this boss fight, it's because the Kraken whacks you and takes you out. And I didn't even mention this boss fight's amazing soundtrack either. I just overall love this boss fight. It's already my third favorite boss fight in Zombies history, only behind Mephistopheles from Infinite Warfare and the Eye of Odin boss fight from Voyage of Despair. And when I hop on Terminus and do the Easter egg, I always look forward to this Kraken boss fight every single time. Liberty Falls. Now, I don't know if y'all gonna let me count this or not, but I'm gonna try. My favorite thing about Liberty Falls is the atmosphere. Wait, sorry, that's the wrong map. As I was saying, my favorite thing about Liberty Falls is the atmosphere. If you didn't play during the holiday season last year, Treyarch released a holiday-themed version of Liberty Falls, and it looked absolutely amazing. As someone who loves Christmas and the holiday season as a whole, this just made me feel so festive inside every time I played it. It was great. Now, how this version of Liberty Falls played, no. But as far as this map looks, strictly from an aesthetic standpoint, it was amazing, and I really wish that they kept the Christmas reskin as either the standard version of the map or an alternate reskin that we could play whenever we wanted. But if this doesn't count, then my favorite thing about Liberty Falls is Aetherella. Definitely one of the coolest Easter eggs in Zombies history. For Citadel Day More, I'm gonna pick something that most people probably wouldn't expect, and that is the traps. There are two kinds of traps on this map. First, there's a point of power trap that will give your weapon infinite ammo, and while you stand in it, it'll also act as like a second pack-a-punch for your weapon. And the other trap is the oil trap, and it might not seem too good on paper, but if you throw a Molotov on it, then it'll actually insta-kill any enemy, or boss enemy for that matter, that touches it, especially if your gun is upgraded. And the oil trap's not just good for killing zombies either, because when you throw a Molotov on it to make the trap a lot more lethal, then every zombie that dies to it will count as a critical kill for whatever weapon that you're currently holding. Because of this, using the oil traps is by far the most efficient way to grind for Nebula. Also, quick shout out to Slave, easily the best Easter egg song since BO4's launch. Most people hate the tomb, and I was giving it the benefit of the doubt because with how Treyarch was spamming DLC seasons at the early parts of this game, it really did look like we were going to get more than 4 DLC maps this year. So like I said, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and as always, they made me look like an idiot for defending them. I'm not as big of a fan of this map as I was a few months ago, but I still don't dislike it, because there is one major thing about this map that has had me hooked ever since the first time I played it, and that is the Dark Ether Nexus. This area is beautiful, from the skybox, to the rocks everywhere, to the shootable pods that will spawn parasites. This part of the map looks amazing, and it's so nice to finally have an area in the Dark Ether story where I can actually kill zombies in the Dark Ether without zero restrictions whatsoever. And finally, for the Shattered Veil, sorry if you were expecting my favorite thing about the Reckoning, or whatever DLC 4 is called, it's not out yet, so we're gonna end with the Shattered Veil. I'm gonna go with the boss fight, but to be specific, the hard boss fight. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when you do this boss fight normally, it has the same problem as 9, where even though it's a really cool fight and the scale is off the charts, it is a really easy boss, so it takes some of the immersiveness away. Thankfully though, Treyarch expected this time and gave the players a hard version too. If you go into boss fight after round 100, not before or on round 100, it has to be round 101 past, then the T-Rex boss fight will not only have a lot more health than normal, but he's also a lot more aggressive in this version as well. So when you do this boss fight with the round 100 hard mode Easter egg, the difficulty of the fight definitely matches the epic boss, the epic arena, and the epic boss fight scale that they're going for. And also bonus points for being able to ride them. So there was my favorite thing on every single Zombies map in history. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like because this took me a lot of work to put together. And also, comment your list down below. And also, would you guys like to see me make a very negative video where I talk about the worst thing in every Zombies map? Let me know down below in the comments. Shout out to all my members. Thank you all so much for supporting me. And shout out to my 3 new members, Mr. Chair, Gaming Coppermind, and Bakri. If you want to be a member and get access to members only videos, members only badges, guaranteed to be in my hot takes videos, and more, you can do so by clicking the top link in the description or the join button down below. Go watch some useful information to get better at zombies. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.